The first priority in the life of a Muslim is to take care of the big problems. إِن تَجْتَنِبُوا كَبَائِرَ مَا تُنْهَوْنَ. If you are to ward yourselves away from the major of what you've been forbidden from, the big stuff you got to get out of the way. And then a daily struggle, once those are constants, like you wouldn't even think about the big stuff. Right? You've protected yourself from those things so well that you don't have to worry about that from a day-to-day basis. Now what can you concern yourself with? The smaller things. That are the smaller crimes that are easily committed. Now you can focus your attention on those. Now this is a healthy sense of proportion. But what happens when there's a corrupted sense of proportion? A fasiq proportion sense. Then a person they won't give their daughter their inheritance, and they're not going to pay the mahar to their wife, and they're going to continue to earn money from questionable sources of income, but they'll go to Hajj every year. But they're going to donate lots of money to the Hifz program at the masjid. But every time they come into salah, they say, hey, your pants are too low. Your beard's not long enough. And they'll be ready for that immediately. But the big stuff, right under the nose, just slips right out. Right? There's an Urdu expression, I won't translate it into Urdu, I'll just give you the English version of it. It's talking about a stupid hunter. The stupid hunter spent the day running after the mosquito while the elephant escaped. Right? Sense of proportion, buddy. So what happens is and especially this is a criminal psychology, right? If you're really engaged in big sin, then you don't want to face that. You want to rationalize away from that. So you concern yourself with smaller deeds and make them your religion. That just becomes this is everything there is in religion. Everything else that you're violating, you conveniently forget about, never even bring up. إِن تَجْتَنِبُوا كَبَائِرَ مَا تُنْهَوْنَ عَنْهُ نُكَفِّرْ عَنْكُمْ سَيِّئَاتِكُمْ. Then we will bury away from you your sins. You can't keep doing your kaba'ir. Now what sayyi'at is the day-to-day mistakes. Sayyi'at is the rest. إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ السَّيِّئَاتِ. Good deeds get rid of bad deeds. They remove bad deeds. That's what's left on a day-to-day. The adhkar, the salawat, the salam to one another, the smiling, the sadaqah. These things will get rid of the smaller mistakes that we do, that we're supposed to be working on anyway. But the kaba'ir have to be dealt with ahead of time, the big ones. وَنُدْخِلْكُمْ مُدْخَلًا كَرِيمًا. And, Allah adds on top of that, the fact that you were staying away from those sins, and you were worrying about getting your smaller sins forgiven. A sinful person is also humiliated. Allah says, we will enter you into a place of entering that is noble itself. Only noble people enter through there. The entrance itself is nobility. Karima, it's noble. So, نُدْخِلْكُمْ مُدْخَلًا كَرِيمًا وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا. Another very important social sense of proportion. Allah Azza wa Jal created us differently, all of us. We have different heights, different weights, different ethnicities, different races, different intellectual capacities, different skills, different flaws. We all are just completely different. And most psychological problems people have, like depression, sadness, aggression, things like that, they come from them comparing themselves to others. Why couldn't I be taller? How come I'm so fat? That one's not fat at all. How come this one's so smart, I'm so stupid? How come they did this and I couldn't do that? This happens at the smallest scale. Some kids sitting in a Hifz program memorizing Quran. Some kid finished 2 juz in a month, the other kid's just finishing half a juz. Like, how come I can't be like that? I hate myself. And then parents don't help, right? They say too, why can't you be like that? Right? They don't help either. But there's this, constant comparison of yourself to a coworker, to a fellow peer, a student, a cousin, a sister, a brother, someone else in school, an athlete. Constantly comparing yourself to somebody and then feeling bad about, I don't have what they have. Man, if only I was taller. If only I was this or that. These things, they can become a real burden on a person. Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا. Don't wish for. مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضُكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. What Allah favored some of you with. What Allah has favored some of you with over others, or with others. Over others. Some of you are far smarter. You may be hard to look at, but you're far smarter. Some of you are very, very good looking, but you're dumb as a brick. It happens. Right? So there's different proportions. Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to not wish for what somebody else has. He just wants you to be grateful for what you have. And the underlying premise here is, if you're wishing for what somebody else has, that means you have no appreciation for what you have. That's an antithesis to shukr. That goes against the very premise of being grateful. So وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضُكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ لِلرِّجَالِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا اكْتَسَبُوا. And if there is something you should compare with somebody else in, is in good deeds. For men, there's only going to be the good portion of what they earned, in terms of good deeds, what they earned for Allah. If there's something to look at somebody else and say, oh, I wish I could do more of that, that's time spent in doing good deeds. And really in the end, the real thing is time. It's nothing else. It's not the quantity of what you produce, how many students you have sitting in front of you, how many people want to come to listen to your talk or whatever, how many people read your book or your article. It's not the quantity. It's the sincere time that you and I, in this limited, adult life that we have on this earth, where we still have ability, where we haven't gone senile. This limited adult life that we have that we're answerable for, in this time, what did we pull off that was sincere time spent for the sake of Allah? Whether that was helping others or helping ourselves, doing ibadah, doing sadaqah, whatever it may have been, how did we make the best use of our time? This limited time that we have. That's all the competition really is in. So, لِلرِّجَالِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا اكْتَسَبُوا وَلِلنِّسَاءِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا اكْتَسَبْنَا. And for women also, they'll have their portion in whatever they earned. A lot of times girls say, why did I have to be born a girl? I can't do this, I can't do that. My brother gets to do everything, I don't get to do anything. Now, how come this and then Allah has placed, different roles and different responsibilities inside the household. The husband has a certain role and a certain responsibility. The wife has a different role and a different responsibility. And she says, why can't I do what you do? And she's just, and that thought eats away at her. It just eats away at her. And this jealousy and this anger builds, this aggression builds, against the husband, because he gets to do some things that I'm not able to do. I want to do that too. Right? All because one is not content with where they are. I'm not talking about abuse of a husband and neglect of a husband, but I'm talking about things that men are supposed to be doing, women are supposed to be doing, etc. Sometimes, and in this society especially, because we're constantly fed, I can do anything, you can do better, I can do everything better than you, right? We're fed that all the time. So what happens? A woman becomes a mother, a young woman becomes a mother. She's going to feed the child, she's going to take care of the child, she's going to take work leave, or maybe even quit her job, or discontinue school. And her husband's still going to work, and she says, I want to go to work. Why can't I do that? Why don't you stay home and take care of the baby? I'll go to work. And that's fine. You can come to a compromise. That's a personal situation. But if the thought is, I'm stuck with this. Why am I this way? How come it's not somebody else's problem? Why is it my problem? This is a problem of wishing for what someone else has been given, and not appreciating the blessing you are enjoying yourself. Right? So وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضُكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ لِلرِّجَالِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا اكْتَسَبُوا وَلِلنِّسَاءِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا اكْتَسَبْنَا. This is the ayah of jealousy. Really, it's the ayah of jealousy and vying. I hate my brother. My parents always favor him. He always gets away with everything. They never yell at him. They even paid for his tuition. They told me I have to work. They told me I'm not good enough. But they're always patting him on the back. I can't stand him. No. It doesn't matter if your parents love him more. First of all, it's mostly in your head anyway. Right? But no, it's not. I'm telling you, they hate him. Even if it's not the case, there's nothing for you to vie for. Because you're not here to earn favor from parents. You're here to earn favor from Allah Azza wa Jal. You no longer vie. You just, who's doing more good deeds? That's it. I'm working with what I got, so everybody else is working with what they have. And by the way, if you've been given more, you're answerable for more. If you're more intelligent, more capable, smarter, things come easier to you, that means that you could have done more with your life and you didn't, then you're more answerable. Because these proportions, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, He knows what He made us capable of. I always give the example, if somebody only has $100, and they give $1 in donation. Somebody has $100 million, and they also give $1 in donation. At the end of the day, they both reported $1 in donation. But with Allah, is that dollar the same? Whose dollar counts for more? And whose dollar is actually a crime? Right? What is this? What are you doing? Is that because it fell out of your pocket, you didn't care to pick it up, it just went into sadaqah? That's what that is? So, Allah Azza wa Jalla knows not just the quantity of what we have, but the quality. And what He's given us, what He's made capable of us, and what we have to work against our own weaknesses to accomplish good deeds. And we're paid fairly in response. وَاسْأَلُ اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. So if you want better, ask Allah for better. Ask Allah for His favor. وَاسْأَلُ اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمًا. Allah is fully aware of has always been fully aware of everything, fully knowledgeable. He knows exactly what you're going through, exactly what you're capable of, exactly what you think your problems are. He knows all of that. وَلِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مَوَالِيَ مِمَّا تَرَكَ الْوَالِدَانِ وَالْأَقْرَبُونَ. And for everyone we have made guardians in what, or maybe people who take over from what the parents and close relatives left behind.